companies in the United States. However, this very successful business was birthed as a result of a tragedy. And we'll talk more about that in just a moment. But as we get into this, first of all, aside from the titles of wife, mother, and CEO, tell us, who is Monique Rodriguez?
Monique Rodriguez is a very driven and determined hard worker. I am very rooted in my faith, and I operate in everything that I do with the spirit of excellence.
So as we get into this, Monique, let's talk about, as we celebrate motherhood and Mother's Day on this day today, let's talk about, for you, I mean, you're the mother of two lovely young ladies. What has it been like for you during this pandemic to be at home with them more often and to be mother, school teacher, and cafeteria lady and everything else?
Yeah, and also detention lady as well, because I had kids in detention a few times as well. But it has actually been a blessing, because I love being a mother. I actually love keeping my kids close to me. They are getting older. I have an 11 and 15-year-old. And so I'm, especially my 15-year-old who will be going away to college in a few years. It's like, how do I just keep on holding on and hugging on her as much as I can? Because, in a few years, she'll be out there in the real world on her own. So, I love being at home, with my kids, not necessarily being a homeschool teacher. I want them to still go to school and learn from their teachers. So that has been, a challenge because that's not my area of expertise. But, at the end of the day, I look at it as a blessing because we're healthy, we're together under one roof. And, there's no greater gift on this earth than being a mother in my eyes. So I just love it.
Well, again, as we talked about in the opening, I mean, you're a very successful businesswoman, again, and now you seem to really have embraced this whole idea of mothering during a pandemic. But of course, your business, it was birthed as a result of a tragedy. Let's talk about the loss of your son, Milan, at 6 months old, and how you were able to take that tragic situation and really turn it into a very triumphant one.
Yeah, so obviously, as you can imagine, that was a very tragic situation for me. And actually, my son, when he was born, he was born, with no brain functioning. So when he came into this world, he was technically not with us, but we kept him on life support for 6 months because my husband and I, we still had hope and we wanted to hold on to the fact and keep him here. But we had to eventually come to terms and, let him be with God. And through that situation, it had deepened my relationship with God spiritually. When you go through things like that, there is no one on this earth that can help you get through a situation like that other than, my faith and my spirituality and belief in God. And so through that journey of developing that spiritual relationship, I also was able to discover my passion and my purpose. And it happened, I guess, on accident because I was really just talking about hair care on social media and I was sharing my gifts with the world. I wanted to transition from having heat damaged hair to restoring my curls. And for me, that was an outlet to get my mind off of what I was currently going through. And that outlet for me turned into Mael, which is what you see here today.
Wow. I mean, again, a very successful company, again, birthed out of a tragic situation. But as we talk about mothers and motherhood today, what would I mean, there are certainly mothers who don't certainly embrace Mother's Day as well because of the fact that they may have lost a child at one point. You talked about your faith being that thing for you to help you to overcome. What word of advice or encouragement would you share with any mothers who may not be looking at this day with such joy as others do?
Absolutely. I would tell, any mom out there that, this day may not be as joyful, just to keep your eyes focused on, God and his word. His word is what got me through my situation with my son. And Mother's Day, I still, have a hard time because he's not here with me. But I choose to focus on his word that says my future is bright with him, that he promised me hope in the future and his promises for me are good. And so I choose to focus on the good and not dwell on, my loss. And, the thing is that pain never goes away. You just learn how to live on and navigate life, just learning how to manage that pain. But to just stay focused on God and know that God, he's always here with you. He'll never leave you nor forsake you. And that has been, what has gotten me through to the point where I'm at today, at peace, because he gives us the peace that surpasses all understanding.
As I look at your Instagram page, I see that you have certainly, during the pandemic, you have maintained staying fit, getting into the gym, working out, things of that nature. What are some of the other ways in which you have been able to maintain self-care as we've navigated through this pandemic?
For me, self-care is about, being mentally sound, being whole. And it's not just about going to get manicures and pedicures and going to the spa, which are things that I love to do that are a part of my self-care routine. But self-care is also just being still, having that moment of stillness where I can really just reflect on, things that I'm very grateful for, things that I'm hopeful for, and to really just journal and express what's in my mind that I necessarily can't talk about with my friends or family. To me, that's self-care, getting everything that I have pent up inside out. And that's my way of talking with God. So really practicing stillness as well, and to listen to what he's trying to tell me, is a form of self-care.
You seem to really have a great balance. And when you talk about, again, running a very successful company, being a mom to two teenage daughters and helping them to navigate through a pandemic as well, being a wife, I guess the question I would have for you is, what advice do you have for other young women who may aspire to become an entrepreneur, but they're really struggling, they're mothers already, and they're struggling with how to balance this work-life balance and not fall into what we call mom guilt?
Mhm. Well, first of all, there's no such thing as a balance. Okay. You really just have to prioritize and also know that guilt, like God does not want us to feel guilty, right? And, when we pray and we ask for things, just know that God, He's going to supply us with the resources, with the village that it takes to bring our dreams to fruition, right? And it takes a village. I have a really great support system. I have a great husband. My mom, my father-in-law, they help out so much with our kids. And that's the support system that it takes. And when you are creating a family legacy and you are creating generational wealth, it will take some sacrifice. But just know that everything you're doing it for the good of your family. And another thing is also include your family a part of the process. I think I've done a great job with making sure that my kids are a part of everything that I'm doing. And that way they won't resent me as the business continues to grow. So always include your family and have that great support system that'll help you navigate as you continue to climb the ladder of success.
Good deal. Good deal. Speaking of family, your family just recently launched a foundation. Talk about the mission of your foundation.
Yeah, our More Than a Strand foundation operates under four pillars, and that's family, faith, education, and entrepreneurship. And when I started this foundation, I wanted to create a foundation based off of my values, and those are some of the values that are very important to me. When you are on this journey of success, it should start with the foundation. You need your family to support. You need education to teach you about things that us as Black people may have never had the opportunity to learn. And then also entrepreneurship, because that gives us the opportunity to create generational wealth and legacy, and also build up wealth in our prospective communities as well. So, we're super excited about this campaign. We've actually launched our program with Rutgers University and Newark Business Hub that will allow 60 women to enter into this program to teach them about the basic fundamentals of entrepreneurship, and then they'll graduate this program. So super excited about this program, and many more to come on the More Than a Strand side.
Yes. And when you talk about more to come, your business just received a significant investment. Talk about that and what that's going to allow you to be able to do even beyond what you currently do.
Yeah, absolutely. So we recently secured a Series A 9-figure investment deal with Berkshire Partners, which is very huge for our community. When one person wins in our community, we all win, because what this investment shows is that there's so much value in what we bring to the table, right? And all we need is that opportunity. And so Berkshire, they believed in our vision, they believed in our mission, and also our community philanthropic efforts. It was very important to us that when we chose a partner, that we chose someone that number one, had experience with scaling consumer brands, but also number two, had the community aspect as well. And so for us to be able to secure this deal, and I still own majority of my company, it has never been done in the multicultural hair care space. And so obviously this is a glass ceiling moment, but I'm breaking glass ceilings. So there are other Maels and other Monique Rodriguez's that can come after me and shatter the next glass ceilings, because guess what? They saw it can be done with Mael. And so now there's more opportunity. We're paving the way for many others to come up as well. And so this opportunity will allow us to continue to grow our empire, to continue with product innovation, and to also continue to scale and create more Maels, which is what we're doing with our More Than a Strand. So it's all under one umbrella, and that's what this partnership allows us to do.
Wow. To think about, you started in your garage. Was there ever a moment where you thought, you know what, maybe this is not what I'm supposed to be doing right now. Maybe we should just give this up.
Nope, absolutely not. Because, the thing is, that's how much passion you need. That's why it's important to be very passionate about what you're doing, because that passion is what's going to fuel you to keep going. Even though you can't meet payroll, even though you can't figure out when your next product shipment is going to come in or how you're going to ship out orders, that passion has to fuel you to keep going. And so, because I was so passionate about what I was doing, there was never a doubt in my mind that this was not what I was supposed to be doing. I
Okay.
always knew that.
So at what point then did you know that, okay, you have landed on $1 million idea?
Um, you know, that's a tricky question, because when I first launched and I had one product and that product sold out, I knew that I was on to something, and I saw the future, and I knew that this would be $1 million company. I just didn't know the steps that it was going to take to get there, but I kept going and I kept operating in my gift, and I kept praying on my gift, and resources started to come, doors started to open. So once I saw how God was just allowing things to happen, I knew that he was going to bless this beyond my wildest expectation, because he had already done it. And so if God did it once, he's going to continue to do it. And so that's where the trust comes in. And so, I knew in the beginning, I just didn't know how long it would take me to get there.
Yeah. I think it's important to also note now, again, you had served as an RN for 8 years or more before getting into this space. So this is not something that you had been doing, I guess, many years before doing it. Again, you almost alluded to the fact that you stumbled into this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. My background, I was a labor and delivery nurse. And then from labor and delivery, I went into being a home health nurse. So when you talk about having a business degree or a finance degree, that was so far from my radar. But again, I had a passion for helping women, I had a passion for serving others. And, I'm so grateful that my husband, he's COO of the company, and he came from a very corporate background at UPS. And UPS trained him with great leadership skills and great logistics skills that, my skill set, our skill sets complement each other. And so, with him being a very supportive husband, he supported my idea and helped grow this empire as well. So I'm just truly thankful for how God aligned us, because, that's why I credit all of this to God, because there's no way that, someone that came from a health and science background, you would think, can't run a multi-million dollar business, but we changed that narrative.
I want to go back to something you just said there, because I think many times we don't understand how skill sets transfer over. You talked
Okay.
about the fact that your husband came from UPS and was able to transfer those skills and must have done it quite well, the both of you, to get your business to the point to where you could scale it to a degree to where you received the investment that you did. That means that you have really kept your books in order and everything aligned so you could go and present yourself to an organization such as that to receive the investment that you did. Talk about the importance of bookkeeping and orderly structure. When we talk about God, we talk about God again wanting things decent and in order.
So I'm glad you touched on that, because yes, you have to have your books in order. You have to have your finances in order, because your financial structure is the foundation of your business. But guess what? We had to learn that. And experience is the best teacher. Did we always operate in that capacity? No. But when you don't operate in that capacity, it will always catch up with you. And when it catches up with you, it's going to slap you in the face, and you're going to have to learn from that experience and how to figure out how do you do better. So given that, we neither one of us came from a finance background, we had someone in our finance department that was not necessarily good for the company, but we had to have things revealed to us to see that, okay, this is not the right person. And how do we lean on our resources? How do we ask questions to get the right person? And then that will help turn, our company around. So, being an entrepreneur, I always tell people that you have to have a spirit of grace and humility. There is no dumb question. Always, make sure that you surround yourself with people that have more knowledge in areas that you do not, so you can ask questions and that you can learn. And because my husband and I have always had the spirit of humility, and we will be the first to admit and say, listen, I don't know, but can you help? And because we've had that spirit, we have had a lot of help and resources and mentors that have helped guide us along the way and guided us even in the financial realm to help get our books in order. So it takes surrounding yourself with people that are experts in that area and learning from them.
Wow, absolutely. I like that whole grace and humility piece because, again, many times as entrepreneurs, those are hard words to accept. And again, to admit the fact that we don't know, because, again, we feel like we're expected to know so much. But again, I think that's a very important point that you made. What's your advice, again, as we get ready to close here, to maybe the young person who's in school or they're working a job today and they're thinking, you know what, these skills really are not going to transfer over to anything else that I may need later in life. So I'm just going to kind of get through here. I'm just here for a paycheck.
Hey, the thing is, your skills are always transferable. That's why I say you can't beat education. You know, I went to school for nursing. I graduated with a degree in health and science, and I'm not working as a nurse anymore. But though that same skill set helped me to do what I'm doing today. You know, my ability to connect with people came from my nursing career. My ability to garner trust with my consumers came from my nursing career. Because before I went into a patient's room and stuck them with a big, large needle or gave them a white pill that didn't have a name on it, they had to trust me, right? And so that same type of skill set that I develop and rapport, that same rapport with my patients, I did the same thing and applied it to my customers. That education that I gave as a nurse, I applied that to educating my customers. So never despise certain skill sets because you never know how those skill sets will pay off later on in life. And I even kick myself in the butt today. Like I wish I would have paid more attention in math and English, because, those are certain skill sets that I probably would have been more sharpened in that area. But, it wasn't my favorite subject, but I didn't say, well, I'm not going to ever use this in life. So if you can learn anything, learn from people that have done it before that say, I wish I would have paid attention in English because all of those skill sets that you learn, and I tell my kids this, will always pay off when you are an adult.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what's next from IL and your foundation and all the things that you guys are doing? What's next? What should we expect to see next?
Oh, you can expect to see a whole lot more from my Yale, more innovation, continuing to pour into our community. We have so many community initiatives going on right now. We're now giving away $100,000 to 10 small Black-owned businesses. So that campaign is going on right now on our social media. We're giving away HBCU scholarships. We're giving away nursing care packages. So we're doing so much for our community because it's important that, like I said, my success is not just about Monique and Mayel and Melvin Rodriguez. My success is about how many people I bring up on this journey. So that's what you can stay tuned for is, more successful people coming out of the Mayel community ecosystem, and obviously more product innovation to meet the needs of our consumers.
Absolutely. Well, Monique Rodriguez, thank you so much for spending time with us. We really appreciate it. And by the way, happy Mother's Day to you.
Thank you. And happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there.
Absolutely. And thank you for watching. And as Monique has already said, happy Mother's Day